Okay. Every business, including your business, including this business, needs one thing to survive, right? Sales. Every successful business needs more sales. You need more sales if you want to grow. There's two things that need to be done in order to accomplish more sales, right? The first thing is that you get the best service offer that you can. In this case, that's basically insurance packages, right? So that's why it's better, in my opinion, to be a broker and to have relationships with different organizations as opposed to being a captive, because then you have a wider selection, and so you can help a wider selection of people, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that you need to tell more people about your better service offer. You do these two things, then you make more sales, right? That makes sense. And if you really want to be efficient, then you tell the people who you know have the issue that you solve about your service offer and how your solution will help them, right? So this brings us to the difference between the average agent and the successful agent who's making more sales, as opposed to the average agent who's just making an average amount of sales, right? So we have an average agent versus a successful agent. And essentially, the difference is that for the average agent, they have the license plus their effort plus their efficiency, and it's average, right? So they're not using their license as much per capita, per minute, per second, per interval of time when they're working. They're spending more time using their effort to chase down leads or to dial or figuring out how to get in front of individuals with high intent, and they're not very efficient. As opposed to a successful agent who also has literally, in this example, the same license, same amount of energy, and the same access to technology to make themselves efficient, right? How do they make so much more money? Because they use their license more when they're actually working, and they're able to do that and reduce the marginal effort, the relative effort, I should say. I mean, it's up and down. If you really want to be successful, then you need to use a lot of effort. You have to work hard, but you work hard and work smart, which is the efficiency. They're efficient because they use the technology that's available today, namely AI, for the sake of this video and this industry, really. But that's the difference between the two, right? And what does that actually look like? An average agent versus a successful agent. Let's do it in red. Okay. So the average agent is chasing down leads, and then trying to convince them that the coverage they sell is the right coverage for them, and then basically doing that over and over again and making an average amount of money, right? And this is essentially the needle in the haystack sort of method, which is very high effort, very low efficiency, average return, okay? The issue here with the average agent is they don't realize it, but they're working backwards, they're hustling backwards, basically. Because really what they need to do is they need to attract the money, attract more sales by having the attractive coverage, and then attracting the lead to the coverage, and then attracting the lead to themselves, okay? And that'll be exemplified in the successful agent and what the successful agent does. Let's do that in blue. Okay. The successful agent is not chasing down leads. Okay, the successful agent puts out a beacon saying, hey, I have this solution for this specific pain point or this specific problem, and they tell more people about their better service offer, right? So when the successful agent puts out the beacon, then they attract the leads with the pain point that they solve with the solution, and the leads self-select. Okay? The leads self-select into the pipeline of the successful agent who has told as many people efficiently as possible who need what he or she is providing in terms of a service offer, that they have the best service offer. Okay? So, when the lead is self-selecting and with the pain point to answer to the beacon that's sent out, then we know that this is high intent. This lead has a high intent to convert, right? Because they've done the work to self-select. So when we get the lead to self-select and we meet with the lead, then we take the lead and make sure they are anchored in their hero state, right? Make sure they're anchored in the hero's journey, that is the sales conversation. They are playing the role of the hero. And the hero is someone who is good, responsible, brave, and powerful with their decision making, with respect to their decision making about, in this case, coverage for themselves and their loved ones. Now, when we do that and anchor them in their hero states, then we attract the decision to buy the coverage, right? And this way is how you attract more sales. Now, going back just a little bit, how do we anchor, or how do we make sure that the lead is anchored in their hero state and therefore thinks as the hero that they are throughout the rest of the call? Well, it's our job, it's your job, you, the agent, to be the guide and to remind the hero of their role and the overall goal, right? Their role is to be good, responsible, brave, and powerful with their decision making. And the goal is to buy whatever coverage fits best for them that we provide, as well as gives them peace of mind, which is actually their goal. Their goal is to settle the incongruence between how they act and see themselves and the situation they're in where they don't have protection or plan for their loved ones or themselves against the unforeseen, which is coverage. They don't have coverage. And so when we remind the hero of their role and remind the hero that their goal is actually peace of mind, then making the decision to buy is the next best step, which will therefore, like we said, attract more sales. Now, this method is not the needle in the haystack, but rather this is using the lead magnet or using a magnet to attract needles. I don't know why you would need needles, but we have to continue with the analogy, right? So essentially the difference between the average agent and the successful agent is that the successful agent invests in a lead magnet which attracts the business to them, right? So the way to become a successful agent is not to chase more sales. It's not to chase. It is to attract attract more sales to you. Now, going back a little bit to how we remind the hero of their role and their goal, we do that inside of a sales framework, right? Inside of a set structure of the sales conversation, so that we can iterate and improve it all the time, and also so we don't have to think. You know, if you already know or have an idea of where the conversation is going to go, then you don't have to worry about what you're going to say. You can spend more time listening to the answers that your lead is giving you, which will help you enhance the offer by speaking to the pain point that they have. Okay, so the sales framework that we use to remind the hero of their role and the goal, let's put it here. The sales framework is 6 phases, right? The first phase is a proper introduction, where you make it known that you are the guide, and on this journey that is the sales call, you will help the hero remember their role and remember their goal, among other things. But that's what's important for right here. The next phase is information gathering, info gathering. We use that phase to first verify and qualify the lead is actually somebody we can help, and then find out what essentially who their beneficiaries are and what assets they need to protect and why it is they feel that they need to do it, because they haven't done it even though they need to. So we want to hear them say those things, and that will allow us to anchor them in their hero state, because essentially we'll listen for things that they do already in the foreseen that are good, responsible, brave, and powerful, which they do already, because they have assets to protect and they have beneficiaries or people who they care about. You don't have those two things unless you're already doing hero trait type things or have done hero trait type things. So when we listen for that, we repeat what they say back to them to make sure that we both understand what's been said and what's in effect, and then we commend them and anchor them in their hero state. Okay? Then from there, after we information gather and identify the pain point, which is the next step, it's sort of interrelated. You qualify the lead, then you identify the pain point. Then you can provide a solution, right? Which for you is the best service offer that you can provide, because you have a plethora of different packages that you can provide, in this case, as far as coverages or coverage that you can provide. And so you know which solution will speak to their pain point, right? So after that, then we go through the cost benefit analysis, where we help the hero, lead now turned hero, weigh the costs of not fixing the problem they know they have and they know now that they can fix, and give themselves peace, or to leave it and let it fester and continue and not get coverage against the unforeseen, which could always happen at any time, right? So really, when we remind them, the hero, of their role and their goal, there really honestly is no excuse for not solving the problem once they've been fitted with the solution, the bells and whistles and the rules and the tools to be able to solve their problem. And from there, after we stack all the benefits properly, answer all the questions, and then go over the costs, which brings us to the cost versus benefit. After we're done with that, then the decision to buy is simple. Decision to buy is easy. It makes sense to do, because the decision to buy will bring the hero the piece that they're actually looking for, right? So where do we come in? Let's go back to black. Well, you need a beacon. You need a magnet, a lead magnet, to attract the leads, right? How you do these things how you attract the leads with the lead magnet is you put out AI ads and targeting, right? And that will attract the leads that you can turn into booked calls or transfers. So you use the beacon or the advertising to get leads with the pain point to self-select, which by definition is a high intent. And then you provide them, or we provide the agent with those leads, or we turn them into booked calls that are scheduled, or we transfer them. And we are RSH leads. And we do this for you. And then you take the leads with the pain point, remind them that they can solve their pain point with the solution that you provide for them, and then help them weigh the costs of not solving the problem, which they know they need to solve, which they will solve with your assistance, and then they solve the problem. When they solve the problem, they give themselves peace of mind, and that makes you more money. So RSH leads helps you attract more sales. And this is how.